Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, welcome everybody to the PWCC weekly hockey auction live coverage. Today is Sunday, February the 26th, 2023, and my name is Jeremy Lee. I would like to thank all of the subscribers, viewers, podcast listeners. If you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please take a moment and do so and hit that notifications bell as well. You'll know exactly when we are going live. But let's get on with the business at hand and bring out our co-host, Josh Madigan. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm awesome, Jeremy. Excited about the auction tonight. This one is really good.
Well, this month's auction, there are 386 hockey lots. One is a wax lot, 385 cards, up from 213 last week. It's a significant increase. Once again, extended bidding is all access. You no longer, or at least for today, you do not have to have a bid in before 7 o'clock Pacific in order to place a bid during extended bidding. So that's pretty cool. There are some absolute bangers in the auction today. And your podcast, Josh, Hockey Card Gongshow, that just dropped on Thursday, you guys highlighted a few of them. For anybody watching, listening right now that didn't catch that episode of your podcast, if you didn't catch it, you should. But let's just get into some of the auctions that you guys highlighted that you found interesting. Which one would you like to start off with?
Well, first thing I'll say is it's really one of the more favorite things we do on our show because it provides us an opportunity to learn not only about the cards, but the players. And we usually start on the vintage side. And one that I know that you've talked about a lot before, might as well start with the 68 OPC Bernie Plante PSA 8. And as I've learned from you, I think it was last week or the week before, right? You had said that this set is very hard to find cards at this level of condition, especially, right, one that is centered to the degree that this particular example is. So if you're a Flyers collector, goalie collector, Bernie Plante guy, this would be one to have. And as I mentioned, we, from our show's perspective, the opportunity to learn about these guys, to dig in. And when you look at his, I think it was 73, 74, and 74, 75 seasons, you could make the argument from a consecutive seasons perspective, the two greatest goalie seasons ever. Just if you think of like what Linus Ullmark is doing right now, Bernie Plante did that for 2 straight years and won 2 Stanley Cups, won the Vezina trophies and the Conn Smythes in those years as well. So what a legend and what a cool card.
Plante, you said if you're a Flyers collector, a goalie collector, a Bernie Plante collector, or if you're a Hall of Fame collector, maybe the most popular of all of those, this is a card that you need. What I love about it is, number one, it's from 1968 OPC. That is the first year of OPC since 1940 or so. So it's really cool in that way. You're right, though, Josh. It is really hard to find these cards in good condition. Centering is a B as far as it goes for these. But this type of off-centeredness that this card has, and really cards in general from the 68 OPC, is that they're often on tilt. They're often, you'll have one border is narrower than the other end of the border. And this card here, this copy looks to be printed pretty square to me. It's in a PSA 8 holder. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a PSA 8 of this card. I'm sure I've come across them or I've watched them sell, but I don't remember seeing one that really struck me like this one does. This one is very nice. It's population 1 of 13. There's 9 graded higher. I almost find that hard to believe that there's even 9 graded higher, but that's what the pop report says. So we'll go with it. In any event, I do love this card. I love the 68 design. And is anybody out there interested in this card? Do you have a card like this? Here, what does Mike say? Mike right here says, it's really tough to get a straight cut on the Plante rookie. That's what I'm talking about. Straight cut, meaning even borders. Even if they're off-centered, it's tough to find one with even borders. And Josh, I think you were mentioning that at the price it's at right now, which after buyer's premium would be $5,400. Is this a new all-time high for this card in this grade?
It's close. The all-time high is 55.50, which was last July, and it was a PWCC vault sale.
Okay, so one more bid and this one will break the record. And listen, I don't, if you are thinking about this card, if this is a card that you really want and this is in your price range, I'm going to like bless this card personally because listen, I own a copy. I think mine is a PSA 6. I love the copy. I'm not looking to upgrade it. I'm happy with what I have. But if I were, you better know that this is a copy that I would be going for. So I just want to let everybody know that like I do love this particular copy of the Parent rookie card. Let's say a quick hello to Jake Dahl. Always good to see you, Jake. Thanks for coming. Mike says, "What's up to us?" What's up, Josh? All good in your world?
Everything's great. Yep, had a good weekend here.
What's up, Alex? Good to see you. Baz is back. And good evening, Todd McDonald. Tom Bullard grabbed an Allmark Future Watch Auto out of 99 for $20 this past summer, randomly because a Sabres fan. Yeah, and then he goes and scores a goal yesterday. Yesterday or today?
No, it was last night.
Last night. Speaking of today, though, Josh, Kirill Kaprizov, your guy, had all 3 goals. It was Kaprizov 3. I'm not even sure who they played 0 today. What did you think of that game?
Yeah, it was a 3-2 win over Columbus, and it's just indicative of where the Wild are at right now. If Kaprizov doesn't score, we don't score. There was a stat about a week ago that the Wild had gone 7 games. Well, listen to this, Jeremy, where they did not score a goal without Kaprizov on the ice.
Yeah, that's impressive. It was
bad.
It was 3-2. But the nice thing was that he scored the 2 goals and then he scored the overtime winner. So Kaprizov, yeah, talk about an MVP for that team. There's no disputing that for sure. Let's Josh, let's go on. What was the next card you guys highlighted? And I'll bring it up.
Yeah, the next one we highlighted was the 1911 C55 Joe Malone rookie.
So that's this guy right here. And as I was mentioning to Josh before the show, this is from the 1911 C55 series. This is the second year of hockey cards ever. And I've collected, there's the 1910s, 11s, and the 1912s. They go by the C56, the C55, and the C57 series. I collect all 3 sets. I've got the first set completed, and I'm almost done the next 2. But when I started that endeavor, the very first Imperial Tobacco card, the very first hockey tobacco card I ever bought was my Joe Malone, the Phantom Joe Malone card, because he was the player that I was most familiar with when I started that endeavor. And Josh and Troy on the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, you guys did a pretty deep dive, which you always do when you look into a player's card. You always talk about the player. What can you tell the audience about this player? And I just want to say, before you go off for a couple of minutes talking about him, this is another card guy. Like, first, you guys have to understand, I'm gonna sound like a broken record tonight. There are so many cards in tonight's auction that I think are amazing. They look beautiful. They're worthy of well, they're certainly worthy. They're mostly in my collection already, so I don't need to buy them again. But like, I approve of so many of these cards tonight. And this one, I have a PSA 5 of this copy. It's not as nice as this 5.5, but this is beautiful. Joe Malone was what, Josh? I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, he was one that we were really excited to learn about. And honestly, we're in the US and we're newer to the hobby than you are, Jeremy. And so he's someone we were not familiar with. And he's, of course, a Hall of Famer. He played in the National Hockey Association, of course, before moving to the NHL. And the thing that stood out the most to us is that if we think of guys like the numbers McDavid's putting up right now, or Connor Bedard, in 1911, he had those type of numbers. So in his NHA career, he had 179 goals, only 27 assists, but 206 points in 123 games played. And then in the NHL, he had 143 goals, 32 assists for 175 points in 126 games played. He led the NHL in goals and points in 1918, 1920, and most notably, I think he holds the NHL record for most goals in a game still with 7. And I think even more impressive than that, Jeremy, is he scored 5 or more goals in a game 5 times.
Yeah, really impressive numbers. What strikes me the most is his goals to assist ratio, which a lot of people would call Alex Ovechkin maybe a little bit greedy, maybe a little selfish, too busy scoring goals and to dish off passes. Imagine Joe Malone in today's social media, how he would be ridiculed for being so selfish, scoring 4 to 5 times as many goals than he has assists. But as you guys mentioned in the podcast, were they even tracking assists all the time back then? And, how different was the game at that point in time? So I love this card. It comes with the PWCC Exceptional Eye Appeal designation, which is the top 15% of copies that they've seen of PSA 5.5s. It's a beautiful copy. $1,375, Josh. I mean, that seems way too low to me right now, considering I have a PSA 5 in my collection. And last time I think I evaluated its value, I think I had it worth more than this. I might be wrong, but that was a little while ago. So I don't remember exactly, but look at the centering on this thing. Look how clean it is. I'm not going to blow it up and inspect it, but if I did, I assume we'd find something, because every card, when these cards are graded, they all start basically at 10, and then there's just deduction as different flaws and defects are penalized. But this one looks to me to be stunningly beautiful. Josh,
it presents really well.
Yeah, sorry, please.
Oh, I just said it presents super well. The not a high pop count on this, of course, and I think that the high sale to this point was in 2019 at $1,250 US. So this would already be a record sale. It just comes down to the fact that there really haven't been a lot of these that have sold.
Yeah, they don't come up very often. I have my set. I have these cards of mine on the set registry on PSA's website, and I get emails probably once every 6 to 8 weeks. Someone says, "Hey, will you sell the whole thing?" They make me offers. And I just say, nope. All right. And they'll actually make me $1 offer, which I think is pretty nice. At least you're not asking me to price my cards that I don't have listed for sale. So they make me an offer, and then I'll come back with either I'll just say not for sale, or I'll come back and I'll say, well, I'd let it go, but it's going to be this much. And I'm pricing it not to sell because they're not for sale. And I think that's a big part of it, is that quite often cards like this, you're just not going to see them very often. So when you do, if you need the card, you kind of better pounce. And I don't know if you're going to find a nicer copy. Like, this is nicer than most 7s, I would think, just based on what it looks like from here. All right, well, let's go on to the next one, Josh. Which one would you like to touch on next?
So the next one is a 1988 OPG Brett Hull PSA 10. This one was a little bit of a nostalgia reason. When he was at the University of Minnesota Duluth, I lived in Duluth at the time, and my mother was a student at the University of Minnesota Duluth. And so we would go and watch him play at the Bulldogs hockey games. And so I have some Bulldogs cards of his and sets from when he played, and just really appreciate his career. I don't know if it's my favorite card because the jersey almost looks airbrushed at that point, but for a guy that scored 714 goals, is it, or 41, one of the two? I'm probably mixing that up. It's just an awesome card.
I mean, back in 1990, 91, he was the hottest thing going in hockey cards. Brett Hull was all the rage. He was the Ovechkin or the McDavid of the day. And this card is very nostalgic for me. Josh, I had a card shop in 1991. And when we opened, we ran a promotion where for every $10 you spent in the store, you got an entry to win a Brett Hull rookie card. Raw. This is pre-grading.
Yeah.
But the store would be packed. I remember when we did the draw, I mean, it was like a big bucket filled with entry forms. I even rented one of those curb signs just to say, win a Brett Hull rookie card. I mean, back then, like, everybody was collecting cards. And this was the preeminent card of that period. And I love it. I own a copy myself. Brett Hull is one of the best goal scorers of all time. And I don't know how this value is, how 3,200 right now kind of ranks in terms of recent comps or expected value. Do you know? Have you looked at that at all?
Yeah, we have. So the last sale was in the December 4 PWCC Weekly, and it went for 3,000 even. So we're a little ahead of its last sale. All-time high is 5,000. So we're shy of that. And I believe that was one of those, just checking right now. It was a January 2021, so a pandemic high, which you see all the time.
Yeah, you do. That was that was a month after the Gretzky rookie sold for a couple $1 million. I forget exactly what it was. The one that Patrick Bet-David sold. And we were just then starting to see the run up. Hockey did lag a little bit behind even back then, but still great card. Do you know the population, Josh? And I'm sorry to kind of come at you with these questions, but I'm thinking you might know it.
I do. It's 63, and there were 3,124 submitted. So it's a 2% gem rate.
A 2% gem rate. And listen, if you listen to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, you know that we have young guns lately with up to 75% gem rate. So a 2% gem rate for a card that's not that old. I mean, 1988, some people consider it modern. I consider it vintage, but that is very low. And only 66 of these made. I mean, yeah, I think it's a great card. It's to me, it's a key card. I absolutely love it. And you know, the only thing that I would like, the only flaw really that I can see is pretty apparent is that centering on the reverse of the card. It's definitely off centered to the right. And if you can overcome that because it's on the back, and a lot of people can, that's great. But if you are somebody who's particular about the rear center, the reverse centering as much as the front centering, then yeah, you'll have to pass on this card and wait for a copy that more satisfies your needs. But lovely card overall.
I have a question for you about that, Jeremy. Is PSA, are they more known to be lenient on back centering than other grading companies? I thought I'd heard that somewhere.
I don't know if they're more lenient than other grading companies. I just know that they're, and I mean, this won't come as a surprise, but they're certainly more lenient on the reverse than the front. I think to be a PSA 10, I think it can be as bad as like 90-10 on the back and 60-40 on the front. I don't love 60-40 on the front as a minimum for centering. If I'm right, it might be 60-55-45, but I think for PSA it's 60-40, and I think that's just too loose of a standard. This card is not that bad on the front. This card looks perfect for centering on the front as far as what I can see. Yeah, it looks pretty much bang on. But yeah, the back, it might be 90-10. I'm sure someone in the chat will know that or can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Great card overall. All right. Let's look at another one, and then let's go through the cards that you guys highlighted, you and Troy on the Gong Show podcast, and then we'll go to some comments.
Sure. So the next one is Austin Matthews Young Guns exclusive. And the reason why we picked this card is one of the things that we've been working on developing is our Gong Show rules for investing in sports cards. And we have those on our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. And it's kind of a living set of rules that we're building out. And our first rule is be wary of high pop counts and run from high gem rates. And so this is a card, of course, because of the era in which it was produced and the popularity of Austin Matthews and the fact that he's a goal scorer, where his Young Guns gem rates on the base are typically really, really high. And so as an alternative to investing maybe $1,500 or so into a PSA 10, for us, getting the more exclusives, which is kind of weird to say, but and particularly in this card where not only is it a gem mint, but it's a true gem plus. So really, you're getting one of the finer copies of and breaking that 100 down even further. And for that reason, I really, really like this card.
I must say, I really like what you guys are doing with your rules sorry, what are you calling them?
We're just calling them the Gong Show rules.
The Gong Show rules of investing or collecting, or is just the Gong Show?
You're just more both. And it's really whether you're an investor or you're trying to hunt for that PC card that you want to make the best deal on, or build a collection that has the ability to create value and wealth over time.
Well, I love that you're putting these rules together. And I think, and I must say, I completely agree that this card fits into this card, like is almost a model example of those rules, right? Because young guns are heavily printed, they're heavily graded, and they have heavy gem rates. This is the exclusive parallel out of 100. It is exclusive. And I like, what you also said, it's a true gem plus as far as BGS grading standards go. And that does put it in that kind of upper echelon territory of, I'm trying to avoid the wording to use exclusive again. We're using the word exclusive again, but it is an exclusive card to own. So you're in exclusive territory. Okay, exclusive. And there it goes. It just got a bid as we're sitting here talking about it. But the other thing to consider is that if a BGS 9.5 or a PSA 10 of this card sells for $1,500, and you can get in on one that is like almost like infinitely rarer. It's not, but probably like 40 times as rare with a high grade, it's almost a no-brainer for 3 times the cost or even 4 times the cost. I think it makes a lot of sense if it's in your affordability range. Yeah,
really
nice card for you guys to highlight on the podcast. Was there one more?
One more, yeah. It's a 2010 The Cup signature patches, Sidney Crosby. The reason why we picked this card, Jeremy, is I just thought it's a really beautiful card. It's an amazing patch. And hey, who wouldn't want to have a 2005 RPAF Crosby from the Cup? But for very few people, that's in their budget. And so if you're the type of person that would just like to have a really cool patch auto from hockey's most premier set, the Cup, I thought, wow, this is a really great card and a really great option. And that's why we picked it.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I'd like to just add a little bit more information, being that this is from the signature patch insert set from the Cup. So it's an exclusive brand, being the Cup, the highest end hockey brand. But it's not your only option for a signature patch. They put Upper Deck includes signature patches pretty much every year of the Cup. They've recently changed the name to like signature autograph materials or something like that, but they're usually at a 99 with some kind of short printed out of 75 or 25. But there are several years of Crosby, so this isn't your only option, but it is your only option in tonight's auction on PWCC. And then what it comes down to is design and aesthetic, and which one do you want to lay your eyes on the most? And if this design speaks to you, then I completely agree with what Josh is saying. This is a great opportunity to get your hands on a Sidney Crosby on-card autograph game use patch card from the Cup. So definitely something to consider tonight. $750 right now, so $900 with buyer's premium. Seems right around where it should be to me. The card's graded an 8. The autograph is graded a 10. So proceed accordingly, everybody, on that one. So those were it, right? I had them all lined up right across the top here, Josh. There were 5 that you guys highlighted on the Gong Show episode that dropped on Thursday. And with that, let's go to the main page of the auction. And I have it sorted here for just hockey at the moment. We're going to be able to see, well, let it refresh again for us here. But along the top, what we call the ticker, we're going to see what items are being bid on from all categories. And I'm just going to hover up here for a moment and we'll go to some comments right now. LGC joins us. Howdy to you. All the tough low pop 68 O-Pee-Chee cards were edge of the sheet cards. O-Pee-Chee got better at cutting the sheets after this year. Really interesting bit of information there and something to watch out for. Thank you, LGC. Gerald, what's going on? Windy City Sports Cards on Instagram. Always good to see you. Joe Sakic, 19XX. That's Alex. Am I bidding? I think I might be. I gotta go to on my phone and look. I'll let you know if I'm bidding on anything for sure. I'll tell you what, there's 2 basketball cards tonight that I do have my eye on, but I'm going to open up the app on my phone really quick and have a look. WC Chargers, good evening to you. Love the shows and podcasts. Great for hockey fans. Selling my PSA graded 2019 clear cuts with PWCC tonight. Oh, the Palladium Shesterkin auto. Nice to hear. Thank you for letting us know that you have a card on the platform tonight, WC, and we wish you the best with it. We'll hopefully get to take a look at it. What is up, Mitch? And to everyone who wants to learn about Cup cards, Mitch delivered the first installment of the Cup Masterclass on the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast that dropped on Thursdays. Mitch, I've now listened to it in its entirety. I thought you did a great job. Very impressed with how you drilled down on everything. So guys, go listen to that if you want to learn more about the Cup. Jake Dahl wants to get a Brett Hull rookie. Listen, I'm not going to tell you not to. I recommend Brett Hull rookies. Definitely recommend them. JH, any billiard fans here? Maybe raise your hand if you're a billiards fan. Mitch says Signature Materials is the new name since 2017. See, we got the Cup guy. He'll tell us what they're called. Signature Materials. He says, personally think that's one of their nicer designs for signature patches. Great card. Nice to know. The man who delivered the masterclass is approving of that Crosby. Again, that is this card right here. Mitch himself, Grotman Cards, is a fan of that card. Good evening, Eric. Always a pleasure to see you. And Toilet wants to know what's up with these NBA authentic super modern cards. Is anyone really counterfeiting these? Not seeing the point. Listen, Toilet, I've seen some posts on the PWCC Instagram kind of talking about what they're doing with these things. So follow them and see what they're saying and what the rationale is for it. And maybe you'll get your questions answered. Okay, back to the main page. Thanks, everybody, for the comments. So what I've done is I've got a bunch of cards favorited, but included in the ones I favorited are the 2 basketball cards that I'm considering putting bids on. So I kind of don't want to show that right now. I'm just going to see if I'm outbid on them yet. Doesn't look like it. So in the meantime, let's go to some of the other cards, Josh, that I've pulled out to look at. And the first one is the one that appears on the YouTube thumbnail for this week's episode, which is probably my favorite card in the whole hockey auction tonight. And that is the 1955 Parkhurst Jacques Plante in a super high PSA 7.5 grade with the PWCC Eye Appeal Award of Exceptional being top 15%. Now, this card, like I'm not BSing, guys. When I say this is one of my favorite cards in my whole collection, my copy is, I believe, a PSA 6. I love it. I'm not gonna upgrade it, but boy, oh boy, if I was, this is a copy I would go for. The only thing about this copy that I don't love, and let's see if we can get that. Point that out. Okay, good, that worked. Well, 2 things. First of all, the slab has a crack in it, so note that. First of all, note that, because that may tell you either you don't want the card at all, or if you're going to buy it, you might want to resubmit it for you just might want to get it reslabbed so that you have a clean slab, because that's never something that you really want to have. But about the card itself, and this is me nitpicking, but I'm just going to talk to you about it, is this right edge here. You can see that there's yellow coming through right at the edge. And what that tells me is that the red ink didn't kind of slab down hard enough at the edge. And if anyone out there knows different, but it looks to me like the yellow printing plate covered this whole rectangle that I'm outlining here. The yellow plate came down over here, laid down a big bar of yellow, and then the red or the magenta plate came down after with almost a stencil and stenciled out the 50, which was his jersey or the card number, his name, and his position, goalie or goal for goaltender. So I think what this is a bit of a registration issue versus how the ink slabbed down, as I said earlier, because you can also see a bit of overlap here. So maybe what happened is the magenta plate was laid down like a millimeter too far to the left and left this little bit of yellow, the sliver of yellow down the side here. Now, I'm nitpicking. This isn't a serious condition issue, but it's something to notice that my eye was drawn to that. Outside of that, and outside of the unfortunate crack in the case, this card is an absolute stunner, and I love it. I mean, I just got to say, I can end it by saying I love it. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'm thinking about is, and I've mentioned this before, one of the things I really appreciate about PWCC and the images that they provide, giving you the ability as a buyer to go into this level of detail and inspect the card to the degree that you just went through. So we've been following, the cup was released a few days ago, and I've been following sales on eBay, and to a T, every photo is awful. I can't believe people are spending $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 on these cards, and the images are, it's like stuck halfway in between a couch and the lights are off and you can't even see the card. So I just really appreciate that ability with PWCC to see this level of detail. You know more about the card and the printing process than I do. This is one of my favorite cards. I love the pose. It's amazing. And where it's at right now, this is a record sale for a PSA 7.5.
The pose, Josh, the pose. I mean, when I took this image and I got rid of the background and I used just the Jacques Plante part of the card on our thumbnail for this episode, I thought, wow, this is the nicest thumbnail we've had for this show, because that is the best pose maybe in all of vintage hockey. I love the card just so much. It is so pretty to look at. So good luck and congratulations to the eventual buyer of this card. As Josh said, it is currently a record for the grade, but it's probably not a record for a card of this caliber, because not all 7.5s are equal, and this is a very strong 7.5. It's an exceptional one. Top 15% of copies that have come across the desks of PWCC. All right, the next card, Josh, that I pulled out as a favorite of mine, and you're going to see a trend here, everybody. Really, I'm talking about Hall of Fame rookies, and I just love them. Dave Keon, one of the, and again, I'm going to take a bit of a stab at the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I love you guys. They don't have a lot of Hall of Famers to buy cards from. They don't have a lot of, stars compared to like the Montreal Canadiens. Dave Keon is one of those players who was a star, was somebody who led the team, and this is a key Hall of Fame rookie from 1961 Parkhurst set. I always loved the cartoon on the back, Dairy Queen. I mean, Dairy Queen is on the back of this card. I think that's just pretty funny. For punchline, it says here, for punchline, rub under the cartoon with a penny. So if anyone buys this card, I would encourage you to crack it out of this holder, take a penny and rub under under that guy's feet so you can see what the answer to the riddle is, or what the funny quote is, because that's what kids were doing in the 60s, and that's why these cards are so hard to find in top-notch condition. PSA 9 is extremely strong for this card. 1961 Parkhurst, mint 9. Card looks absolutely beautiful. Slight off center, left to right, I would say. You can tell by the width of the border here versus here, but overall, a wonderful card. And personally, I own a copy. I don't remember what grade mine is in. It's probably a PSA 7 or 8. But again, I was like, the 9 is just that much more valuable. And anyway, great card. Good luck to the bidders on this one. Someone's going to be a happy owner of the Keon. Josh, anything to say about the Dave Keon?
Very cool card. I think super tough at PSA 9. Last one that sold was in December of 2021. So if this is a card that you want in your collection, it's probably a good idea to try to go for it tonight, because it could be a year or more before you get that opportunity again.
So December 2021. So we're talking about 15 months since we've seen a card of a PSA 9 Keon come for sale. That's a long time. It really is, especially with the volume of transactions in our hobby right now. So well said, Josh. Thank you. Let's keep on going. 1965 Phil Esposito. Mitch Grotman's eyebrows just raised because he's a big fan of Phil Esposito and how underrated this player is, considering all of his accomplishments. And I love the 65 top set. I know I love a lot of cards, everybody, but I love the 65 top set. I like the way the team name is across the top in like a whole bunch of pucks stacked on top of each other. I love the simple blue background. And again, this is nostalgic for me. When I started collecting Hall of Fame, actually, let me back up. When I started collecting all the rookie cards of all the 1,000-point men in the NHL, I started that endeavor in the late 80s. Phil Esposito was one of the first ones I went for that was like a huge card back then. It was probably like $600. And I was like, wow, $600, you know, I'm going to have to save up for that card. And I did, and I got one, and just love it. It's an awesome card. And as Basement Break says right here, he's a 700 goal scorer. Great card. Yes, sir. Mike Double V says beautiful Espo rookie card. I mean, I agree, obviously. Just a wonderful card. Josh, have you guys at the Gong Show ever done any research into Phil Esposito?
We just did today, as a matter of fact. So right before our show, Jeremy, we recorded tomorrow's episode. And one of the things we were looking at is right now, Connor McDavid's tracking for, I think, 154 points on the season. And if he can get that, he would be one of 5 players ever to have 150 points in an NHL season. And one of those 5, or he'd be the 6th, but one of the 5 that's done it is Phil Esposito.
Yeah. He's an all-timer, no doubt, underrated as far as all-time greats goes in hockey. And I know, again, I called out Mitch before, but I know Mitch is kind of taken aback by the lack of interest in Phil Esposito. And I think that he's right in being taken aback by that. Todd McDonald says, agreed, 65 top set, such a nice design. And Eric says, Espo rookie card is on my list for the Expo. Very nice. I'm sure you'll find one. It's not a rare card, but it's rare in good condition. You can find as many as you want, you know, raw or in that like up to say good or EX condition, but to find one in near mint or better, it's a little bit tough. I want to back up here for a moment and go to David Chow. Welcome, David. Always good to see you. Our friend says, love to see 2 of my best hobby friends doing the best hockey shows together. Very nice, David. Says, I love the Plante. The only issue for me is centering. So let's just go back for a second and take another look, because I did notice that, and I want to highlight what he's talking about. So this left border here is wider than you would like in an ideal situation. But the fact, to me, why I can overlook the centering on this card is because what I would compare it to is the bottom of the name Plante to the edge here, right? That's definitely shorter than here. And I'm not going to use the Q. I'm not going to use the bottom of the Q. I'm going to use the bottom of the other letters compared to here. But I think why the centering doesn't throw me off so much on this card is simply because they're different colors. That's it. Because they're different colors, and because this border here is part of a larger rectangular portion of the card. So if you're looking for the perfect card, yeah, this is off-centered, you know, left to right when we're looking at it here at this orientation in the horizontal view. But David is not wrong. This card is off-centered left to right. And you know what? If it was better centered, maybe it would be an 8. Probably would be. Okay. Thank you, David. Hockey Barn says, my Plante is a 0.5. Like, so wait, does that mean that you have half the card, or does that mean that it's graded 0.5? Hockey Barn, good to see you. Mike says you can tilt the card so that the light reflects on the hidden quote. That way you don't have to scratch the back with a penny. So what he's talking about there is the back of the Dave Keon card. Let's just scratch it with a penny, Mike. Why not, right? That's what they wanted you to do. That's what it was intended to do. Of course, I'm just kidding. Not that I need to say that, but Mitch says, Phil was a terrible player. Anyone holding his card should sell for whatever they can get. That's the sound of a buyer right there. Exactly. Giamaz says, I have the Esposito and a PSA 7. Daniel, good to see you, and congrats to you on owning that card in a 7. I'm sure it's beautiful. And okay, good. Let's keep on going. And look at this we already did that one. 1976. This will be the Bryan Trottier rookie card. PSA 9, mint condition. I mean, Trottier was, he's an all-timer. He's part of that Islanders dynasty that won 4 Stanley Cups in a row. What are your, Josh, Bryan Trottier, and I'm sorry, I can't keep track of every player that you guys have ever done a deep dive into, but I feel like you must have looked at Trottier by now. Have you?
We did. It was a couple episodes ago, so I'm going to go off memory here, but from what I recall from that, really captained their cup run, and I believe he's the first Islander to have his jersey retired. in the franchise history. I
Yeah,
seem to remember.
Sorry, I let me jump in quick. I remember listening now, and I remember you. Pretty sure I remember you saying that, or I feel like I've had this discussion.
Anyway. Yeah, we might have. We don't remember our own show. That's Troy and I laugh all the time. We can't remember what we talked about 7 minutes ago on our show. So having to pull it back here, but obviously an all-timer and an amazing card. I don't know what to say beyond that.
Well, Daniel here says the centering on the Trottier top to bottom looks off. Yeah, definitely a little bit off. Let's open it up. I'm now finding that I can open these up, and this is so much better than the Zoom view that they have. The centering top to bottom, yeah, Daniel's right? I mean, you're going to measure this little bit right here or this little bit right here versus the bottom of the letters to the bottom of the card. This is now it's definitely within a 9 centering, but it's definitely off. So, now with that, I will say I do prefer a card like this to be off center top to bottom versus left to right. It's just the left to right centering here looks to be bang on.
Pretty good.
Pretty much bang on, right? Top to bottom, definitely off. So but again, listen, if that's going to bother you as you're looking at this card for the rest of your life or during the period of time in which you own it, wait for a different one. But if it doesn't bother you as much, and it doesn't bother me that much, however, that said, I probably wouldn't buy this one for my personal collection. I'd probably wait for a stronger 9 myself, but you'd probably pay more for a stronger 9 as well. I'd probably want one with like an eye appeal designation or something like that. But in any event, still a great card, great player. And even the side-to-side centering is tough to find on this card. So that right there is a bit of a win as far as I'm concerned. But Daniel goes on to say, love the Trottier card. And Tom Harrison says, Trottier to Bossy. I mean, how many times was that said where it was then followed up with, and he scores, I mean, they were a dynamic duo back in the early 80s. All right, well, let's continue on. And let's talk about, I believe this is the Mike Bossy. Yes, it is. 78 Mike Bossy. If you've ever heard a podcast where I discuss my personal hobby origin story, it includes the story that these are the first cards I remember seeing. 78 O-Pee-Chee Hockey were kind of the first cards I remembered seeing was this set right here. So it holds a special place in my heart. I do love the design. I love the way you've got that kind of, I don't know, the like almost the fan coming out of the top left corner, the team logo, the position, the team name. I love the design. I love the rounded box, like the rounded corners of the image versus a squared off corner. I think it just looks nice and smooth. And this card is another one where centering is almost impossible. Here we go. Daniel A even makes the comment right here. It says, has there ever been a centered Bossy in the back? Oh, he's talking about the back. But even the front is very tough. Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't paid as much attention to the backs as the fronts, but I wouldn't worry about the back for this card because front centering is so tough. Let's take a quick closer look at it and assess the centering. So top to bottom looks really good to me. Left to right, there might be a slight counterclockwise tilt, very, very slight, meaning that it's a bit wider up here than down here. But that might just be my eyes playing tricks on me. Is anyone out there seeing that? Josh, are you seeing that as well? A slight tilt, like a degree or less?
I didn't until you pointed it out, but now I do.
It's so minor if it's even there. Not something that I mean, I'm not an absolute perfectionist when it comes to centering. I'm more of a perfectionist when it comes to registration. In this copy of the Bossy rookie, that wouldn't bother me. I'd happily add this copy to my collection. I already own this card in a 9, so I'm set. But great card overall. Love the 78s. Mike Bossy, I mean, one of the best goal scorers of all time. Goals per game is probably among the best in history. And I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking it is. He had a bit of a shortened career. Passed away recently. Just a Hall of Famer, great player, great card. And gosh, I mean, Mike Bossy had a ton of fans all over North America back in the day. I have a buddy, I have a buddy that I went to university with, college up that I did my commerce degree with at the University of Manitoba, and Bossy was his favorite player. His number is 22. He always go twos. I guess that was a thing. I don't know. Let's go to some quick comments here, though. Hockey Cards Up says he sees the tilt. Daniel says Bossy was amazing. And Mitch says such a tough grade for this one. Bossy is the highest goals per game ever. Thank you, Mitch, for verifying. I'm not surprised to learn that fact. Josh, over to you. Comments on the Bossy.
It's one of my favorite cards. So I'm going to ask Mitch, is it 0.88 goals per game? Let's see how good I remember that. But I think that might be right.
That might be right.
It's Troy's favorite player, so my co-host on the Gongshow podcast. And so we talk about him a lot. And I think what I appreciate most about this card is I love the photo. I love the fact that his shin guards have, like, he's obviously been down on the ice and he's mixing it up with another player. And to me, it's just an iconic image for a card. And I think that's what I appreciate most about this.
Yeah, to me, it's an iconic card. It just is. In my personal hobby life, it is. Let's see. Tom Harrison says, yeah, number one goals per game, pretty sure. And Mitch says, I had to Google it, 0.76 goals per game. Lemieux is 0.75. So Bossy has even Mario Lemieux beat for goals per game average over the course of a career. Let's keep on going to the next card that I've decided to take an interest in, and that is this 1980 Raymond Bourque PSA 10 rookie card. Again, this is iconic too. This is like so. I'm only guys, like when I went through and favorited a bunch of cards, they were the cards that I love. So the fact that I sound like a broken record and say I love it, like it's because I picked out cards I love. Trust me, there's a lot of cards in the auction I don't love. But we're looking at some of the favorites, and these are big cards. Like we're looking at all cards are $1,000 and up here. So apologies if it's kind of not your wheelhouse, but I'm just so excited to see such high caliber cards on the PWCC weekly right now that I wanted to look at them and share the insights with all of you. 1980 O-Pee-Chee Raymond Bourque. This 1980 O-Pee-Chee it's an amazing set. It's got Gretzky second year. It's got rookie cards of Mark Messier, Raymond Bourque, Mike Gartner, Rod Langway, among many others. But this is him, and this card and the Mark Messier are probably the best in this. Well, they are easily the best in the set. However, the Mark Messier might get the edge because Messier didn't have a tops card that year, but Raymond Bourque did. So you actually have two options for a Bourque rookie, both O-Pee-Chee and tops, and only one option for the Messier rookie. Looks like there's some stats down here. In the 42 years since O-Pee-Chee printed it, PSA has only encapsulated 32 examples in a PSA 10. So that's I mean, what Brett Hull we talked about earlier was 63 PSA 10s. Raymond Bourque is half of that. Both player, like, look, an epic 21 seasons, and then he went with Boston, then he went to Colorado and won the Stanley Cup. And when the Stanley Cup was claimed by the captain of the Avalanche that year, Joe Sakic. Joe Sakic didn't he kissed the darn thing. He didn't even do a lap with it. He just skated straight to Raymond Bourque and gave Bourque the cup. That tells you the esteem of which Raymond Bourque is held by a player with a level of class almost unmatched, maybe by Jean Beliveau, in Joe Sakic. Like you have to understand how important Raymond Bourque was to the sport of hockey, or if you don't, that should help you understand it. That Joe Sakic, the classiest guy in hockey, skated the Stanley Cup straight over to Ray Bourque before he even took a lap himself. I just so impressed. Love the card. Looks beautiful to me. Here, let's have a closer look at it. Well, it's so easy to do that now. I mean, this thing looks perfect. The centering is like bang on. Left to right. I always look at the angle here. Look at that angle between the corner and the corner of the yellow, and that angle there. That's my gauge for centering. This one looks to be almost perfect. Top to bottom looks great. I mean, the color pops. The surface looks beautiful. The edges look sharp. Corners are sharp. Like, what a copy. What a copy. Josh, any comments?
Yeah, so we talked about the Brett Hull gem rate at 2%. This is 1.34%. So very, very tough grade. The other thing too, and from a values perspective, I find this card really interesting. It's been all over the board from the past really 2 years. It went as high as I think almost 25,000 US during the pandemic in January of 2021. At the price that's now, it's kind of at the range where at the lower end of what it's been. And I bring that up just to say, who knows if it'll go down more. But if this is a card you've always coveted, even as far as in last June, somebody paid almost 14,000 for this. So I see this as a buying opportunity. Just I'm not even talking from an investing perspective, from a collector perspective, to get one of 32 copies of these cards for really close to the low point where it's been over the last couple of years, to me is an amazing buying opportunity.
You make a great point there. I couldn't agree more. I remember when this card was doing like that $20,000 level, and I can't see this card going down in value anymore, but hey, markets change all the time. You never know. But compared to where it's been, great card, good price right now. If it's something you're after, I wouldn't hold you back from going after it. Eric says a 10 Bourque O-Pee-Chee is impossible to get it at a 1.3 gem rate. It basically is. Mike says 8081 O-Pee-Chee is one of my favorite sets. Tom says Michel Goulet as well in 8081. Yes, I actually should not have forgotten Michel Goulet. Him and Denny Savard were two of my favorite players in the 80s. They were both just a joy to watch play. So thank you, Tom, for calling that out. Mike says that the Topps version is another set you can scratch with a penny. Yes, it is, Mike. Yes, it is, for sure. Basement Breaks reminds us that Mike Gardner, whose rookie card is also in the set, had 700 goals as well. And Alex Ovechkin this season finally beat Gardner's record for most consecutive 30-goal seasons. I think it was 13 before. Now I guess Ovi has 14. If those numbers are right, I think they are. That's great. Hockey Cards Up says great player, great card. And Mitch says, if you guys have time, would love to see a little deep dive into some of these 33 O-Pee-Chee cards that are up. We will see. Mitch, thank you for the request. We'll try to get to them for sure. So look at that. The Mark Messier rookie from the same set, $9,000 it's up to. The Bourque is at, what was that at, 65? I mean, to me, these cards are kind of like, they're kind of equal, except that the Messier doesn't have a Topps version. And does that explain the difference in value? Or is it that Raymond Bourque was a defenseman, even though he was a very offensive defenseman? Few things there. In any event, this is another great card. I think I've seen this card's value kind of travel along the same axes as the Bourque card. And another card that, if you are a serious hockey collector, you need this card, you need this card, you need this card, you need this card, you need this card. Like all these ones that I'm pointing out tonight that we are looking at are all like necessary cards for your collection. Not this one, but all the Hall of Fame rookies that we're looking at are essentials. To me, they're essentials, at least for my collection. So let's see. Eric here says, sent you a photo on Instagram to look at later. Okay, well, thank you, Eric. I will look at that later. Josh, anything on the Messier before we go on to the second-year Gretzky?
Yeah, a little bit higher pop count than Bourque, so at 45, but a lower gem rate, 1.29%. So very, very tough, again, to get and to find a card of this quality in 1980 O-Pee-Chee. And then the other thing that is what other legendary player has, or not too many have, or their rookie cards are errors, right? Where it's the error on the back that it says he's a right-handed shot.
Yeah, and that to me is kind of like, it's almost like I wish PSA just didn't put that on there because the error was never corrected. It's the only version of the card. And I think they put that on there back at the beginning of their days and they just never changed. But to me, it's actually a bit of an eyesore that that's even on there. Like, who cares that it's an error? Sure. Like, there are other error cards that they don't put that out there, that they don't put that on the label, but this one they do. I just disagree with that approach by PSA. I don't think it really makes much sense to put that on there, considering they're not consistent with that with other cards. But all that said, there is a bit of an error on it, and that's maybe that is kind of a neat aspect of the card. Okay, let's go on and take a look at the second-year Gretzky in a PSA 9. So these were PSA 8s, PSA 10s gem mints. But we're going to look at the second-year Gretzky in a mint 9 holder. And a lot of people, myself included, think that this is almost a nicer looking card than his rookie card, just because it's a true action pose. Looks like he's skating up the ice, awaiting a pass, probably coming from, well, it might not be Paul Coffey. He wasn't in the league back then, but coming from someone on defense. And there's that guy in the background with the captaincy. I think that's Ryan Walter from the Washington Capitals making a cameo. Not a cameo that adds any value to the card, but nonetheless, at least we can identify the player. I think that's who it is, which is kind of cool. But I love the card again. And I did a reel on Instagram today about second-year cards. To me, this is an important card. It's Mike Double V even right here says definitely my favorite Gretzky card. Out of the Gretzky run. I don't think you're alone on that, Mike. And I love the card. This one looks to be really nice as far as the condition goes. Let's take a quick peek at it. And Josh, I'll ask you for comments in a moment. Centering wise, it's off center, left to right. It has some counterclockwise tilt. So this border up here is narrower than this border down here, and the opposite. This is narrower than this one up here. Top to bottom centering looks fine, but the image pops. The edges look good. Bit of a rough cut down here, which I'm a-okay with. Hey, it's a 9. It's not a 10. I think it's accurately graded, and a great copy. If you don't like tilt, though, hold off. Don't buy this one. Wait for one that has a more square cut. I would just kind of leave you with that thought there. Josh, anything on the second-year Gretzky?
Awesome card. Again, one of my favorite sets too. And if you're doing a player run, it's a must-have. Very, again, iconic card. Just love it, and have a raw version that is nowhere near as nice as this.
Okay, I hear you. And that's maybe why it's raw. I want to come back here because we have this comment from Tom Harrison says, don't forget Messier won more cups with Gretzky and also went to New York. And I think that's why he is ahead of Bourque in value. So yeah, Mark Messier has six or five Stanley Cups, 6, 5 with Edmonton. So he won 4 with Gretzky. Then he won that 5th one in Edmonton after Gretzky was traded. I think this is right. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I might be misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure he won 5 cups with the Oilers, and then he won the 94 Cup with the Rangers. And that's a great reason, why Tom says maybe that's why his value is ahead of Bourque, because he has, 6 cups to Bourque's 1, which is a huge difference in amount of cups. But Raymond Bourque was beloved. Oh, and also Mark Messier dated Madonna. I mean, there's got to be value for that, right? I mean, he transcended the sport there for a little while. So that's I always thought that was pretty cool. Daniel says PSA didn't always put error card on the Messier. The older slabs don't say that. I used to have one. Okay, well, thanks for clarifying that. So the fact that they put it on there now is just, another inconsistency that I just dislike. But if you want your card in a PSA holder, you're gonna take it with that little caption, which again I do think is an eyesore because not the rest of your cards won't have that. But it is what it is. Not again, buy the card, not the slab. So don't worry too much about that. Tom, yes, we were right about the Stanley Cups that Messier did win. 694 goals for Messier, was known as the Moose. Basement Breaks lets us know he was only 6 goals away from 700, which is a huge milestone. So too bad that he didn't get there. And Larry's Classic, when it comes to Ray Bourque, says, unless your name is Orr or Makar, the hobby doesn't value D-men. Well, Larry, I mean, listen, I'm going to push back a little bit on that because I think the hobby does value Raymond Bourque. I mean, here's his rookie card about to go for about $8,000. I think we do value him. And the other pushback there is that Makar, that might be temporary. I mean, Makar's values have come down substantially since last year. So I wonder just how long this will be, and Larry, I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, but I'm saying, I think it might be Orr, and then you're going to have Orr, and then you're going to have a group of other defensemen. And I think that, Raymond Bourque, Makar, Lidstrom, Paul Coffey, like even Larry Robinson, perhaps. Maybe not up there as much, but these are the guys who, Brad Park, Doug Harvey are going to be in that next tier, but Orr stands alone. And I don't know. For right now, it doesn't seem like Makar is going to last in that echelon, but we'll see. We'll see what he does next year. I think he's had some issues this year. Pino Chapetta says 6 cups for Messier, Mr. Captain. Yes, can't go wrong with that. Jake Dahl says Doug Harvey. Yes, sir. Daniel says, I think Paul Coffey should be worth more. Can't disagree with that. And then Jacob Dahl calls out Serge Savard and Guy Lapointe, who I would put even a lower tier down than the guys I just mentioned, but worthy call-outs nonetheless. Looks like Josh had to take a break. Josh, are you still there? Or just guess Josh had to step away. We'll wait for him to come back. So let's just wait for him. I'm just kidding. We're not going to just wait for him. We'll keep on going. Tom Harrison here says Messier scored only 1 goal as a 17-year-old in the WHA in 52 games. Yeah, as a 17-year-old though, but let's not cut him any slack. How many goals did Wayne Gretzky have in the WHA at the age of 17? Probably more than 1. All right. Oh, the Messier keeps on getting bids. Is Bourque getting any more bids? He's at 67.50. How about the second year? Wayne Gretzky gets a bid. It's sold. So now we're seeing some of these cards beginning to end. Next up that I pulled out. This one is sold as well. Not sold yet. The Paul Coffey. So the card that Daniel just said he thought should be worth more. 1981 O-Pee-Chee, Paul Coffey in a PSA 10. I wish Josh was here to tell us the gem rate on this card because I'm almost positive it's going to be in that like 2% or under rate. 1981 might have been the worst year for like out of the pack quality for O-Pee-Chee. Tops, mind you, that year were like gem mint out of the pack, except for maybe centering. But O-Pee-Chee was really, really tough. Same with 1980, of course, but 81 might have been even worse. The backs were often, you had edge issues along the backs on almost all the cards. But Paul Coffey, Hall of Famer, won 4, maybe 5 Stanley Cups in Edmonton, 4 certainly with Gretzky and Messier and Yari Curry and Glenn Anderson, Grant Fuhr, that whole core. Josh, welcome back. We're on to Paul Coffey now, and I'm just wondering if you could check out the gem rate on this, because I was saying I kind of wish you were still here, because I'm guessing the gem rate on the Paul Coffey PSA 10 is under 2% because it's such a tough card. Tom tells us there's 46 of them. So what is that? That's lower than Brett Hull, but I think higher than what you said for Mark Messier. But then it comes down to total submissions, so it might still be really low.
I'm showing 24 in Card Ladder. Yeah, it might be different on the PSA website.
And I don't know what Tom's 46 is about. It could be about something different anyway. So,
and 1.14% gem rate.
I'm sorry, Josh. Tom was talking about how many goals Gretzky scored as a 17-year-old, whereas Mark Messier had 1. Gretzky had 46. I'm sorry, Josh. Yes, please. The gem rate.
1.14% and a pop of 24.
24, guys. Only 24 of these. PWCC, I would really like to see them put that here because 24 is super low. 81 O-Pee-Chee is also loaded with rookie cards, Hall of Fame rookie cards. And the Paul Coffey is probably the number 1 most important of that whole handful. And he's a defenseman. I mean, you got Peter Stastny in there. You've got Denis Savard. You've got Yari Curry in there as well. Andy Moog. It's a long list. There's several in there. But then Daniel says, let's be honest, the Paul Coffey is not a nice looking card. I don't know, Dan. I mean, I don't mind the look of it. It doesn't offend me, but I will say, the 81 design is not my favorite design of the 80s O-Pee-Chee set. So, but you do go on to say it's a great set, which, it definitely is. Definitely is a great set overall, filled with Hall of Famers, both rookies and, non-rookies. Josh, have you guys done a deep dive into Paul Coffey on the Gong Show?
Not yet. But what I can add, though, is right now it's about half of its all-time high. So, again, like I think we were talking about with the Ray Bourque, another probably safe, what I would call it, buying opportunity, knowing that you're not overpaying historically for the card. When you look at last sold, it was 4,767 this past June. So with buyer's premium right now, it's probably right at that target. And it just comes back to, Jeremy, there's 24 of these. So if Paul Coffey is a guy you collect or one of your favorite players, or you want all the Hall of Famers from the Oilers Cup runs, and you want the best of the best copies, there's 24 and one's for sale right now.
Yeah, not a lot to choose from. So this might, and how often are they going to come up for sale if there's only 24 of them? Not that often. I just noticed, guys, let's have a look back here. The 1955 Jacques Plante is at $10,000 for the PSA 7.5. I just love seeing the respect that this card is getting tonight. And by respect, I mean $10,000 worth of respect. Again, I love this card. Like, look at that image, guys. Look at the thumbnail. If anyone watching right now is in on this action, I want you to know, like, this is kind of cool. At least it would be for me, but I'm a total geek when it comes to this stuff. You can now, like, tie this card to the thumbnail from this particular episode. If you want, email me and I'll send you a copy of the thumbnail in PDF just so you can have it. I mean, because if you go to YouTube or whatever, it's going to have like a bit of a caption on it. I'll give you a clean copy of this. I'll send it to you digitally. You can have a copy to go with this card. That's how much I love this card. I hope the buyer is watching, because I would love to send you that image. So just message me on Instagram or leave a message on this video. And if you're the buyer of this card, I will definitely send you the thumbnail if you want it. If you want it, I know it's kind of just a copy of a thumbnail, but yeah, we're spending a lot of time talking about it tonight, and that's going to add to the provenance of this card, I believe.
Well, I do, Jeremy, have one comment on the value right now. This will, of course, continue to be a record for the PSA 7.5. But when you think about where it's at right now and the next jump up to the PSA 8, that's a $24,000, $25,000 card. So if you want a nicer copy of this card, you're making a big step up financially. And I think that's part of the reason why people are going or really competing for the card, this particular one.
Look, and we just saw 2 bids come in while you were talking there for 15 seconds, which tells maybe the buyer is watching right now. Maybe someone is there and said, "Hey, I'll spend an extra $1,000 and pick up that thumbnail." I'm just kidding. It's definitely not worth $1,000 for the thumbnail. But if you are watching, please reach out. And yeah, Josh makes a great point. To go from a 7.5 to an 8, you're more than doubling the price. And let's face it, there's a difference, but as you get higher up in grade, it's kind of like that law of diminishing returns. The higher up you go, the lower the incremental benefit or increase in condition that you're going to get. So yeah, this is just a beauty altogether. Beauty overall. Okay, well, let's see what happens with it. It's there needs one more. Oh, so we're now in 5-minute windows. So if there's no more bids placed on this in the next 4.5 minutes, this card will end at $11,000. Let's go to the Paul Coffey for a moment. Adam Gray jumped into the chat right here. It says, "What up, boys? Good info on the Paul Coffey. All-time high, Josh, on the Paul Coffey." So that's pretty cool to hear. Basement Break says, "Wicked curve on the Coffey blade." And I mean, wicked. So I guess he's talking about the actual stick blade, which we can't see in this card, but Basement Breaks has seen his stick, I guess. And Daniel says, "I wish PWCC kept the saved cards on your save list even after they sell. What did the Esposito go for?" Well, Daniel, you can just go to the search function and click on status and pick completed, and you will see it. Okay, let's go on to the next card. Josh, they're starting to fall as they're selling. So this card, this is a really interesting card. And this is a very rare case for O-Pee-Chee, where the player, being one of the greatest of all time, a Mount Rushmore player, has 2 cards in the base set in his rookie year. Mario Lemieux. This is not his rookie card, but this is a rookie year card, and it's a PSA 10. I mean, this is a good card. Like, now, I don't own a copy of it. I don't think I do. No, I don't own a copy of this card. I believe I used to have it in a mint holder. Josh, are you looking up the population?
No, I can. I was looking up the values of it really quick because this is a card that I'm not familiar with. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, what I have to say is that it's a rare instance, and it might be the only instance where a key rookie has 2 cards in the set. So I've heard some people call this a rookie card. Now, I don't consider it a rookie card. It's part of a subset, basically. Now, it might be a 1-card subset being rookie scoring leaders, but it's not. It's like a highlight card or an inaction card, which we saw a lot more of those in 1980 and 81 and 82 for that matter, even 83 and 84. I think that was the most of those cards happened from 80 to 84, where you had award winners and like all-stars and that kind of thing. But this card, I mean, Mario has 2 cards in the base set. I can't think of another player from 1979 to 1989 that has 2 cards in the base set. Larry, are you calling out, does Mike Bossy have 2 cards in 1978? If he does, I wasn't aware, but is he on it alone, or is he sharing it with a person whose record he surpassed? I'm not sure. Let me know, Larry. I'm really curious about that. But from at least the Gretzky year, 79 forward, I can't think of another rookie that has 2 cards in the set. Did Steve Yzerman in 84? Does he have a second card in the 84 set? He might. In any event, it's rare, and it's a rookie year card, but not a rookie card. So I'm actually thinking, like, do I want to make a play at this card? I'm probably not, because I have the rookie card. I don't need I don't need a second card from the set, but some people will. And I think it's just a pretty cool card to have to add to your collection. Hockey Barn calls out Ray Bourque. Mike calls out Tom Barrasso in 84, Calder Trophy and All-Star maybe. Yeah, Eric also calls out the Raymond Bourque. Larry verifies Mike Bossy does have one. Josh, welcome, says maybe Pat LaFontaine, who is also in 84. Adam Gray says the Lemieux. This is a great analogy, Adam. The Lemieux is like the 61 Fleer in actions in basketball. Nobody calls them rookies either. Are they important? Yes. Rookie year, yes. Rookie card, no. Beckett answered that long ago. Yeah, and I'm not saying that it is a rookie card, but it is important. Scott Neighbor calls out one of my favorite cards. I do own a copy of this, which is the 85 box bottom. He has a Topps and an O-Pee-Chee version. And I'm a very fortunate owner of one of the top O-Pee-Chee copies. Just love it. Thanks for calling it out, Scott. I consider that to be a rookie card, believe it or not, even though I don't consider this to be a rookie card. Maybe because it's the same pose. It just has a different colored border, Josh, but I love it.
So that's a pop 24 and a 2.2% gem rate.
Pop 24. That's it. 24.
Yeah.
What's it? Do you have the total submissions in there to get the gem rate?
1,058.
1,058 submissions, 24 tens.
So it's 2.2%.
Wow.
The value right now is, this would be the lowest that it's sold for in a very long time.
Oh,
right now it's a good buy.
The lowest ever. All right, I'm putting in a bid.
I'm not saying lowest ever, but in a long time.
Well, I'm putting in a bid no matter what. Accepted. All right, I'm in on this card. Yeah, I think it's just like I think it's an important card. Adam said it well. It's important, but it's a rookie year, but not rookie card. So, well, we'll see. I'm not gonna. Well, we'll see if I make it.
Well, let me tell you. So last sale was 2,358 in April of last year. So we're pretty well below that. And then all-time high is 4,161 from pandemic February 2021.
4161. So sorry, what was the other one you said before 4?
The last sale was 2,358 in April of 2022. Last April.
Yeah. And look, it keeps on getting bids, so I guess I'm out of the running now. Yeah. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it be, but
let me give you one more data point, right? So last sale, 2,358. The prior sale to that was 3,939, and the prior sale to that was 4,161. So At $14.75, it's pretty low to compare to where it's historically sold.
So it's still yeah. I mean, that's crazy just how low it's come. And then the question becomes, if you are a buyer on this card, do you want to try and time the market or just buy it tonight? Because it looks like you're going to be able to get it for a pretty good value compared to the last few times it's sold. There's only 20. I'm going again. There's only 24 of these. Like you got to keep that in mind. There's only 24 of these in existence. So right now, I'm already outbid. I just bid. Did I already get outbid? Let's see. I thought I just bid 15. Oh, I'm outbid. Yeah. 15.25. Who's going against me out there? Who's going against me on this one? I'm going to go one more time. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to go to 16 and we'll see what happens. Yeah. What's that? 19.20 with buyer's premium. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, I'm already outbid. Okay. Well, and it could keep on going, right? I mean, this card should be $2,500, $3,000 at this point, based on what you just told me. And it's a cool card. I mean, it's just a cool. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at 1986. This will be the Patrick Waugh rookie PSA 10. It's at $5,250. I mean, it's a healthy price. This card, you used to be able to buy this card for like $800. I'm talking 2017, 2018. This is I don't know that I've ever seen a PSA 10 copy of this card that wasn't worthy of that grade. The gem rate, I think, will be a lot higher than the cards we've just been looking at. Josh, do you happen to have the population of this in PSA 10?
Yeah, it's not all that much bigger, Jeremy. So there's 90 gems. So the pop count is a little bit higher. The gem rate, though, is 2.19%. So out of 4,103 that have been submitted.
Right. So yeah, the gem rate isn't much different, but the absolute population is like 4x that last Lemieux card, which is only from the year before. So yeah, it's 90 of them. That's a lot bigger than 24 or 35 or something like that. It's close. And what was the Brett Hull? 63, which is from a few years later even. So yeah, that kind of does make me think that, my gut was right in that in 86, the production quality was pretty good, even compared to 2 years later, the 88 year with the Brett Hull. But it's also a very, very important and popular card. Patrick Waugh might be it's probably a top 3 rookie card from all of the 80s in hockey, after maybe only Mario Lemieux. And who else would be a more important? It's probably number 2, actually. Yeah, it's probably number 2 behind Mario. And then you got Steve Yzerman, you got Bourque and Messier, maybe Brett Hull. Who am I potentially forgetting there in terms of overall importance? But this is a very important card, and good luck to the winner. I mean, I love it. How about you?
Oh, it's one of my favorite cards ever. From a value standpoint, it's the last couple sales have been really low. So there was a sale in November in October for $3,700. There's a sale in November for $4,500. So we're a little bit above recent comps, but even going back to last summer, this was an $9,000 card. So the market, I don't know, hasn't really settled maybe on the price, and all-time high is 12,000. So again, not a lot of copies. 90 copies. If you're a collector, I think you can be confident that you're getting an okay price.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. I would agree with that. Thanks for the color, Josh. Great job, man. Great job. Mitch says, well, I just won a card in this auction because I made the fatal mistake of looking at O-Pee-Chee comps bidding on a Topps card. You know what? That's one of those things where it's almost like, get it out of the way, make it happen so that you ensure it never happens again. Mitch, what card was it? Curious to know. I hope you're happy with the card, but curious to know what it was. Wayne says that league leader cards started in the 60s. They used to put 3 players on the front. Adam Gray says to Mitch, it happens to the best of us. No doubt, no doubt. And Basement Breaks is encouraging me to buy the Lemieux. Hello to Name, Indigenous rookie cards. Good to see you as always, Name. Daniel says that Messier is the number 2 rookie card of the 80s. Yeah, I don't know. I could see an argument for Patrick Waugh still, though. T-Dot says Patrick Waugh commands money. Jake Dahl throws out Steve Yzerman. You'll never get an argument out of me. I'm a huge Steve Yzerman fan. Larry says Patrick Waugh can't hear your criticism of his cards with the cup ring stuffed in his ears. If anyone doesn't know what that's from, well, you're just missing out. You're just missing out. Google that or YouTube that. It's one of the most classic moments in press conference history as far as hockey goes. Tom says that is a good top 5. You named Jeremy and 80s rookie cards. I think you nailed them all. Thank you, Tom. Mitch says it was the Ken Dryden Topps PSA 9 off center. I'm happy with it. Been secretly picking up vintage rookies. Be happy with it. That's great. Oh, David Chow got the Bernie Parent, the Phil Esposito, and the Mike Bossy. And I don't need to tell David, that he bought good cards. He knows his stuff. But David, I mean, congratulations, man. Those are all wonderful pickups. Wonderful pickups. Alex picked up 2 auctions tonight. 1 hockey. Congratulations. Nice. Please let us know what you picked up. T-Dot says in the 90s, Patrick Waugh told the Avs to score 1 goal. They'd win the game. That's hilarious. Jay says Patrick Waugh is a beast. Mike Vernon owns him. Notice how I don't think Jay meant beast, but I hear you, Jay. Nothing expensive at all. Hey, it doesn't matter. What'd you buy? You bought a card, Alex. You bought a card because you like it. We want to be happy with you. Let us know what it was if you're willing to. If you're willing to. T-Dot calls out, oh, I love Ron Francis as well. Raymond Bourque and Katie Genian. Katie from Players Choice Sports Cards in Kelowna, British Columbia at their new location says, love the Patrick Waugh PSA 10 rookies. We have 2 left. We got 10K and at the November Expo for one of them. So there you go. And this one's about to sell for, 52, about 64 US. So yeah, about $8,000 Canadian or so. Joe Sakic, 19XS, says he picked up the Malkin Beehive Matte out of 100 and PSA 9. Well, that's a cool card. Alex, way to go. Way to go. All right, let's go to the next one. Josh, that I pulled out. Let's see if it's still alive. It has sold. This card was stolen tonight. This card was absolutely stolen tonight for $3,720. This might be the best card of the 90s for any rookie card. I consider it a rookie card, even though it's a parallel. This only 50 of these cards made. Joe Thornton is a guaranteed Hall of Famer, and his BGS 10 of his regular rookie card, which wasn't we don't know the print run of, I think is sold for more than this is sold for. And now that's a BGS 10, but this was a steal of a price. I would have expected this to get closer to $10,000. So for the winner, congratulations. I truly think you stole this card tonight. T-Dot bought the Francis rookie for $15 today. Beautiful card, 5th all time. What? Yeah, Ron Francis is an all-time great, one of my favorite players. And I do have a small PC of his as well. And then the other card that I picked out was the 53 Parkhurst Gump Worsley. Lorne was his name, but he was called Gump. You can see right here. This card is in a PSA 8 holder near mint to mint. Still going. You can still bid on this one. It's at $3,500, and it has the above average eye appeal designation or award by PWCC. Josh, I'm going to ask you, have you guys done a deep dive into the Gumper on the Hockey Cards Gong Show?
No. I don't know who he is. Is that bad?
That's not bad. He's a Hall of Fame goaltender. But, I mean, it's somebody that I would encourage you to look at. He had a great career. And this is one of the key cards between, you really have this and the Jean Beliveau from this year. Yep. As far as rookies go. I always forget, was Johnny Bauer from 53 or 54 his rookie? I would call Johnny Bauer more important than Gump Worsley, but Gump Worsley, I mean, and look at this card. I mean, let's just open this up for a second. Like, I love these early goalie cards where you can see his whole face very clearly. Like, isn't this, what an image? These edges, the borders are like beautifully white. The edges are sharp. The corners are sharp. Centering looks to be almost bang on left to right, a little bit high, but nothing offensive at all. The back is very nice from this angle. I'm not drilling down into it, but this is an important card, and it's just a great card overall. I'm going to go.
I can tell you it smashed its previous high sale of. It doesn't come up for sale very often, of course. The previous high was in 2016 for $1,540 US, and the prior sale was $1,363 in June of 2021. So if you are a Gump Worsley fan or collector or Hall of Fame goalie collector, whatever it might be, again, there's been so many cards tonight that just rarely come up for sale. It's kind of crazy. They're all in one auction.
Yeah. Oh, this is really an amazing piece. It looks beautiful for its age. Go to a couple comments here quickly. T-Dot says, I don't think they stole the Joe Thornton. Yeah, we'll agree to disagree on that, T-Dot. Mitch says last PSA 10 of that Thornton went for almost 2 times that price. So there we go. He that was a steal. I mean, getting that card in even a PSA 9 or a BGS 9, there's only 50 of them made. You don't have a lot of options. And considering it's likely the most important rookie card of all the 90s in hockey, yeah, I think it's a steal. Even 2 times that price, I would consider personally to be a steal. Daniel says Ranger players look so cool on vintage cards, maybe because of the red, white, and blue. I'm not going to disagree with that. Dan says, look at the Gump. I didn't forget Bauer. Bauer may be the next season. And then a couple people say 1954. Eric says Gump was the last of the maskless goalies. That's cool. Good to know. Yeah, we know Gump is 53. Bauer and Mike means to say not the same year, but it's from 1954. T-Dot says I'd be all over that Gretzky 8 O-Pee-Chee. So the Gretzky 8 O-Pee-Chee, I didn't have that card. I didn't have that pulled up, but let's go back to the main page here. 186 cards at the beginning of the night. Let's refresh and see how many are still going. How many are still eligible for bids? We are down to only 15 cards. Well, here, this is good convenience for us for a second, Josh, because earlier Mitch Grotman asked us to look at some of the 33 O-Pee-Chees. There's 2 left. $9,000 on the George Haynesworth PSA 7 with only 1 graded higher. Now, in my opinion, this is not a rookie card. I believe his rookie card is from 1925, the Pollen set, I believe it is. But this is still maybe his first more mainstream card, 1933 O-Pee-Chee. I do love the set. I'm actually surprised how high this price is. I'm not saying it's overvalued. I'm just saying that I think this card is commanding $9,000 because of the slab, not the card itself. We've seen several really nice 33 O-Pee-Chees that present as nice as this, but they're in a 5 or a 6 holder. But we know that the PSA set registry is a real thing and it has a big impact on pricing. And I think that's probably the case for this. That said, great card. And congratulations to whoever's about to snag it, because if you are doing the 33 O-Pee-Chee on the set registry, you need this card. And this is a very impressive in a PSA 7 holder.
Yeah, I was just looking through Card Ladder, Jeremy, and the highest graded one that they have in their database that goes back, something like 18 or so years is a PSA 5. So that might have something to do with why people are being as competitive for this particular card as they are.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. And I think that not only that, but this is a PSA 7. There's only 1 7 and there's only 1 higher. It's not like there's 5 7s and 1 higher. This is one of the top 2 copies of this card on the planet, and maybe the whole universe for that matter. So I think if you need this card, yeah, no wonder it's at $9,250 over $10,000 with buyer's premium right now, because the one that's graded higher is probably locked up for a very long time. So this one is now, I'm sure, going to be locked up for a very long time. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see it getting such respect. And in 20 seconds here, let's actually open this up for a second and take a look and see what's going on with it right up close here. Because in 16 seconds, if there is not a bid placed in the next 10 seconds, this will sell for $92.50 plus the buyer's premium, which will put it at just over $11,000. And it looks like that might be the case. If we refresh it one more time, I think, oh, what happened? Sold $11,100. So that's a big amount for, again, I don't think it's his rookie card, but doesn't matter. He's a Hall of Famer. He's an important player, and this is an early card. So still a very good card for whoever ended up picking it up, and it has sold. This other 33 PG Jimmy Ward, just a common player I've never even heard of, so we won't spend any time on that. Look at the Joe Malone is still going. Gump. Oh, the Messier went for 13.8. That's nice to see. Nice to see a big number like that there. What else is going on here? The Patrick Waugh did $6,600 that we were looking at. I also was looking at this Patrick Waugh Young Guns, which isn't a true Young Gun, not a rookie card, but a Young Gun flashback type of thing. Did $180. So we were at 15 cards left in the auction. Oh, it looks like Malone just got a bid, so he'll go on for a little bit longer. 1 to 2 cards left in the auction. The Joe Malone PSA 5.5 is now at $2,500. I'm not surprised, guys. I don't even care like how many are graded higher. I would put this 5.5 beside all the 6s and 7s in the population, and I would be willing to wager this is nicer than those cards, just of how nice it is. Just by looking at it here, I can pretty much tell. I think. Take a second, Josh. Go to a couple comments here. Larry says, love my 73 Gump Worsley North Stars card. He was 44 and looked like he was 65. I know the card. I know that he looks like one of like Larry Curly or Mo. He looks like one of the Three Stooges in that card. Joshua Sherber, welcome, says Gump ended his career here in Minnesota with the North Stars. Very cool. Daniel lets us know that the Plante sold for $15,000. So that's this guy right here. So $15,000 would include the buyer's premium, which is a nice, very nice round number. So what's that? 12K? No, it's about 12.5 plus, 12.5 plus buyer's premium. So $15,000 on the Jacques Plante. Nice to see. That's very respectable, I would say. T-Dot says, Jeremy bid on the Rocket card. Now that's a steal. I'm not sure which one you're is that the one with him and Elmer Locke? Is that the one that you were talking about, T-Dot? And Toilet wants to know, what's this Carey Price card? Yeah, that's from Black Diamond. Let's open it up for you.
Yeah, I know a little bit about these. So
good.
It's from the most recent issue of Black Diamond, and it's a new insert that they call Band of Colors. And I think for vets, they're all out of 21. And they're a fairly chaste card and really nice looking. They've got all the different sort of colors of stone. I'm not sure what the stone is in them, but it is a new insert as of this year.
It is very colorful, very pretty. What's interesting about these NBA cards, and I received 2 back a couple weeks ago, is that these cards, PWCC actually places them in tall boy top loaders. So this is a top loader with a plastic label just kind of slapped onto the top loader. So if you pull these cards out of the vault and bring them in hand, you're probably going to want to take it out of this thing, which is what I did, and put it into a normal top loader, because these are very awkward to have in your personal collect. Like, they won't fit in your standard 2-row box in these holders. Just as an FYI, you might want to keep an image with this NBA certification, but at the end of the day, the certified authentic, which it says here, but at the end of the day, I mean, no one's counterfeiting this card, I don't think. So I don't think the NBA certification is really integral to a card like this. Nonetheless, just letting you know that's how you receive this card. It is pretty, though. It's nice and colorful. As Josh just said, you've got 6 gemstones here. I'm guessing they're lab grown, but you've got one of each of the 6 maybe major stones. I don't see a diamond, so except for a diamond, perhaps. I'm totally speculating on that. I don't really know what those are.
Yeah, I don't think that they're probably manufactured. And like I said, veterans were out of 21, and I believe rookies are out of 22.
And that card is now sold for $288. So the Joe Malone is the lone survivor of the night. Joe Malone, congratulations. You are the winner of Survivor. you will be awarded a big oversized cardboard check in the amount of $1 million. Congratulations, Joe Malone. $3,500 now. That's $4,200 with buyer's premium for the PSA 5.5. That, let's look at it now, Josh. Now that the auction is pretty much over, let's take a look at this card and see if we can spot why it is only in a PSA 5.5 holder. And we'll look at both the front and the back. And look, I'm just going to hit Control Zoom here for a second and see if we can get a closer look. Okay, so listen, I mean, it's got some corner touches. That is going to impact the grade. Of course it will. Though that top border, though, and the left and right border, to me, are perfect. Bottom edge looks really great as well. Maybe a little bit of a fleckle right there. Fleckle. Google fleckle. No, I just made that up. Don't Google it. And then, of course, tiny touches on the bottom corners. But like, I like that. I want that. I don't know. Seems the 5.5 so far seems harsh to me. Of course, we can't hold it in the light and look for any indents on the surface, so we don't know if there's any of that. But from this angle, there might be something weird, something going on. Let's see. Something going on right here. I'm not sure if that doesn't seem to be in the design, but it might be. Just a wonderful example. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a scratch right there in the surface. I like how they put the player's, I think the card number right there on the front in the little corner. You almost have to search for it. Yeah, that's the card number. Let's look at the back of the card. Zoom in. So again, corner touches right there. Minor touch there. I don't see anything else wrong with it. Like this, I don't think this is a scratch. I think that's just the way the card was printed right there. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm kind of going quickly here. Like, what's wrong with this thing? How is this not a 7 all day? How is this not a 7? Like, I'm gonna default and say that, you know, I'm gonna trust PSA's grading of this card. I'll just put that out there. That there's got to be something we can't see. Oh, the centering of the back. Let's just look at the center. But even that, I mean, we've seen 9s with centering better than this, right? So,
well, to your point, Jeremy, this card, and I just verified in PSA as well, is the 4320 is the all-time high for any grade of this card. So PSA 7 sold in January of 2021 for $42.39.
Yeah, well, that tells me that the hobby is getting it right, because don't worry so much about the grade on the slab. Look at the card you are buying. This card here, like I said earlier on the show, before I knew that stat, any of that, Josh, I said this card I would bet looks nicer than any 6 or 7 that's ever been slabbed by PSA. And it's only a 5.5. So there must be something there that we can't see, but if you can't see it even zoomed in, like, who cares? Buy the card. Worry about how it looks to you at a normal looking at distance. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful copy, and I'm not surprised that it broke the all-time record for any grade of this card, at least that we are aware of. And congratulations to the new owner. I think you got yourself a heck of a card right there. The second most important card from the 1911 C55 set, following only the George Vezina rookie from that same year, and also another key card. But when I went out to purchase, when I started collecting my C55 series, all my C cards, C56, 55, and 57, the very first card I ever bought was my Joe Malone. That was back in probably 2006, and I still own that exact copy to this day, and will continue to own it for at least as long as I've already had it, maybe even longer. Wow. Anything else we should look at? It looks like the auction has ended. Why don't I do this, Josh? I'm going to go to the main page, and I'm going to here. I'll let you guys actually follow along, because this can sometimes be interesting. But we're going to show you how I sort this. I'm going to go through this sort icon right here, and we're going to go to status, and we're going to go to closed. So that'll bring up all the ones that have closed. We're only looking at tonight's auction, which is number 58, and we are still in the hockey category, and we're going to sort by highest price first. And let's hit apply, and that'll give us the filter that we want tonight. Good night, Daniel. If you're still there, thank you for joining. Good to see you as always. And here we have what we'll do the first page, Josh, the top 24 cards from the auction. Number 1 is this beautiful Jacques Plante from 1955 Parkhurst at $15,000, followed by the Messier rookie, $13,800. In third place is the George Haynesworth, not a rookie, but a very high grade pop one, only one higher, $11,100. Somebody just took a few steps up on the PSA set registry. And then in fourth place is another card from ADO Peachy. The Raymond Bourque does $8,700. In the fifth spot, Patrick Waugh rookie, $6,600. Number 6, Bernie Parent, $5,640. Spot 7 is the Paul Coffey PSA 10 at $5,400. And in the 8th spot, another card that the Gong Show looked at on their Thursday episode is the Austin Matthews Young Guns exclusive at $5,280. I think that's a great deal on that card. I think that's good value. Good value, right?
Can I make a comment too that really is just standing out to me? If you scroll back up, when was the last auction that you saw where you're looking at the top 7 sales and it wasn't a Connor McDavid or Alexander Ovechkin Young Guns? And what a night for vintage hockey, huh?
Yeah, that's a great call out. Like I'm glad you have that observation. I didn't think of it, but now that you say it, it's just wonderful to see. I agree completely. Continuing on in the 9th spot is that Joe Malone. The 10th spot is the Gump Worsley. In 11 is the Brett Hull rookie card. The PSA 10 does $4,000. A nice amount for that card. I think the last one did $3,000. So nice to see that trending upwards. In the 12th spot is the Dave Keon PSA 9. That's a Key Hall of Fame rookie card. In the 13th spot, what I think is a steal of a card in any grade is this Joe Thornton rookie card out of 50. Again, I say rookie card loosely, but I believe it to be. In the 14th spot is the Phil Esposito, another great card. In 15, we have a Tiny Thompson PSA 6 Peachy card. Rookie card, population 1 of 6, 5 graded higher, does $3,500. And in the what would this be? 16th spot is that Lemieux card. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
I wasn't even in the running. I mean, I was just pretending with my bids, right?
Was that an extended bidding at like $1,400 or were we pre that?
My high bid was, I think I bid as high as $1,500. Yes, we were in extended. That was not too long ago.
But it was at like $1,400 in extended bidding. And
oh yeah. This card took off. This card took off after. I mean, I don't know where it was before, but I mean, I'm surprised. It basically doubled. It almost doubled since I was making my bids on it. So
crazy.
Great result there, I would think. In spot 17 is this. We didn't get to look at this, but this Gretzky sign of the times, 1999 autograph card, does $3,360. It's a gold version, numbered out of 25. Very respectable price for a Gretzky autograph. I mean, you can buy all sorts of Gretzky autographs numbered out of 25 for $700. So there must be something special about this one right here. Maybe it's this first sign of the times. I'm not sure. I don't think it is though, but it's early. It's playing days. That might be a big deal that it's playing days. 1990, his last year, I believe. Connor McDavid, Young Gun rookie, does $3,360. Patrice Bergeron, young. Hey, look at that. A Patrice Bergeron. It's kind of close to McDavid, but not quite there. But I'll tell you what, the population of this is probably about a fifth or a 10th or even a 20th of this one right here. So nice result for the Bergeron rookie. He's a Hall of Famer, guaranteed. Yep. And he's been playing his whole career with the Boston Bruins. His rookie year is 03-04, 20 years in the league, 21, not 20, minus a lockout year. Great player. Love Patrice Bergeron. And then we have a McDavid exquisite rookie year auto here for $2,640 in the 20th spot. And the last
Can I make a comment about that one, Jeremy, real quick?
Please.
Would you mind scrolling back up to, because I want to show the McDavid exquisite auto. So here again is where it just perplexes me about the hobby.
Oh yeah.
McDavid Young Guns is great. There's 2,500 PSA 10s, and somebody paid $700 more for a card with a pop of 2,500 than an exquisite auto out of 149.
Remember last week, Josh, we did the show. There were twice where I actually had to stick my hand through the camera and slap the hobby.
Yeah.
This is another case where the hobby just isn't doing this right. To me, listen, I'm not going to tell people what to collect or how to buy. I'm going to make suggestions here or there, recommendations. I might even, give my blessing on certain things. I do not give my blessing on this result here. This to me is ASS backwards. It just is. How do you? I don't know. I just feel that is backwards.
What it means is that the guy that bought the exquisite, and I'm a big fan of exquisite. And if you look, is there a brand of card that is sold for more? You look at the top 50 exquisite sales, it's something like $30-40 million, right? So you get the premier brand in all of sports cards. You've got a rookie limited to 149 and it's autographed. And it's more so than I get the commodity trading of the McDavid Young Guns. And listen, he's just killing it right now. So it's hard to go wrong anywhere you go. But I think of it more as a really smart collector jumped on that 2015 exquisite.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, let's keep on going because I can sit there and shake my head at that for another hour. Final four spots. We got the Trottier rookie card, a beautiful piece. We've got another McDavid Young Gun, but a BGS 9.5 in the 22 spot. In 23, we've got the Bossy rookie. And in the 24th spot, the second year Wayne Gretzky. I think overall a fine top 24 here. Nothing that offends me. I would have liked to see this one finish higher relative to to this one, but otherwise, really, this offends me. It doesn't really offend me, guys, but I'm just really surprised that a card like this that really almost never comes up for sale, only 50 copies made, and Joe Thornton, he's like an Iron Man. He's an all-timer. Just sells for that little. I'm just surprised. What I'm really impressed with, though, is the Haynesworth. Really happy with the price on this card. I think Messier did very well for itself tonight. Parkhurst did well for itself tonight. I know David Chow picked up a few cards tonight that are on this page. So congratulations again to you, David, if you're still watching us all the way from Hong Kong. Yeah, some good stuff. Josh, let's go to some comments here before we wind down, and I'll just unshare for a moment. And we're going to go back up to someone was talking about the colors of the diamonds on that Patrick Waugh card. And right here, Basement Break says lab grown colored diamonds. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Toilet says seems very sought after for modern vet. Pretty cool. Sorry, I don't remember what that would be about. Justin Bode got the 95 Brett Hull auto. Congratulations, Justin. Very nice to hear. Very nice. T-Dot loves the Esposito. Hockey Card says, can you say what the Mario went for? It's too small on my screen. Yeah, $3,300 after I topped out at $1,800. So I wasn't even in the running at all. Mitch lets us know regarding that Gretzky auto, that sign of the times, not his first sign of the times, but the gold 90s are ones that some of the rarest 90s auto cards out there. Well, that explains it, Mitch, that it's, one of the rarest out there. It is out of 25 though. So that kind of is consistent. For sure. Name from Indigenous Rookie Cards loves the Trottier. Trottier was an Indigenous hockey player. And CC says, Jeremy, agree with you. The Thornton was a steal. I'm surprised you were not in the bidding mix. Well, CC, I have a PSA 9 copy of the regular Thornton rookie. I'm okay with that for my collection. So I'm just okay with it. There's people out there who are more serious about that kind of card. And yeah, as I said, I'm just surprised that it didn't go for much more. But I'm content with the card, with my copy of my Thornton rookie as it is.
Can I ask you a question about that one? We were looking at some of the other 90s rookies earlier today. And do you think it's the Team Canada, or not that it's the Canada jersey, but the not in an NHL jersey that is a turnoff to maybe a certain amount of collectors. And I know like a lot of 90s rookies have this, like Nicholas Lidstrom is another good example that's in Team Canada.
Lidstrom and Forsberg and Solani, and I mean, there's so many of them. Pavel Bure is another big one. Another big one is Eric Lindros. Eric Lindros is in his Oshawa Generals jersey. So I think the easy answer to your question is yes. That is going to turn some people off. I know there's people that have been watching these shows that have said that, you know, they don't even consider that to be a rookie card because it's not an NHL card, but it is a rookie card as far as, you know, technically, as it's technically defined. I think, you know, as far as other 90s cards go, like those ones we mentioned from 1990, 91, 92, like Paul Kariya's rookie card is a Team Canada card. That Chris Pronger is a Team Canada card from 93, I think it is. So there's so many, but they're also in the junk wax era. There's also no shortage of them. You can't sell these cards on other platforms for the shipping cost oftentimes, right? They're just, no one wants to pay $3 shipping on a Forsberg rookie or a Solani raw rookie.
It's crazy. Well, if you listen to our show tomorrow, we debate the Lidstrom one, because if anyone caught, the Athletic did what they called like an NHL 99 project, where they picked the top 100 players, 99 being debatable in the post 1967 expansion era. And their number 7 player was Nicholas Lidstrom. And his OPG Premier rookie is a pop of 256. Right? It's not a crazy high pop count. Connor McDavid is 2,500. The most recent comp on a Lidstrom, again, according to the Athletic, number 7 hockey player, seventh best hockey player since 1967, goes for $58.
So that's impressive that it's so cheap and that he's ranked that high by the Athletic since 1967, 7th best player. Oh, I don't know. Listen, I have a ton of respect for Nicholas Lidstrom, but I don't know if he's the 7th best player since then. I think you'd see you've got McDavid, Crosby, and Ovechkin who are still playing. You got Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, Yzerman, Patrick Waugh. I mean, I don't think he's 7. He's probably top 20. But anyway, all that said, what I found most interesting for me about what you just said was OPG Premier. When I mentioned Lidstrom, I was thinking about I think it's card number 26 from 1991-92 OPG, where he's in his Swedish jersey. And then in the high numbers, or the later year version that came out, he's got a young gun pictured in Detroit. I love the looks of that card. Not a big fan of the 91-92 OPG Premier set. Too similar to the 90-91s and way mass produced compared to what you'd want it to be for what was supposed to be a high-end set back in that day. Basement Breaks calls out that Iginla's rookie is also Canada. That's from the 95 SP series, 94-95 SP. Again, another one that he's right. A great card of a Hall of Famer that is not in an NHL jersey. So some people don't consider it to be a rookie card. Personally, I do. But let's see. Mitch makes the comment here that personally, and it's weird I'm saying this because I own a copy, I think that national team cards ding them in terms of desirability. No, I think you're completely right. They do, because there are people who don't want those cards. So right there, you're losing demand. You lose demand, you're going to lose some value. That said, there's enough people that it's a very small amount of people that don't consider them to be rookie cards that do ding that desirability. But I think over time we could see that increase. We could.
The one thing I push back on you, Jeremy, and not that I really am that invested into this, but because we went through the same thought exercise on our show, which again comes out tomorrow morning, but if you have an Athletic subscription, go to the NHL 99 and read Nicholas Lidstrom's bio. I think he was like, was it 7-time Vezina winner or 5-time Vezina winner or something like that? Norris winner. But just crazy amount of accomplishments in his career. And they had him ahead of Ray Bourque and, I think only Bobby Orr was the only higher rated defenseman than that.
I'll agree with that. Nicholas Lidstrom is an all-time great, but the 7th best since 1967. I mean, that's a very lofty assessment. That's such high praise when Gretzky, Lemieux, Crosby, McDavid. Now McDavid doesn't have the Stanley Cups, but he's skill set. He's probably number one.
They had him 16th right now is the post-expansion era. Now here's another one. I'm just curious to get your. This is now my for my entertainment. Sorry, everyone that's watching, but they had. Gretzky number one, then Lemieux, then Orr, and then the next three were Crosby, Jagr, Ovechkin. And the one that is curious to me is, would you put Jagr ahead of Ovechkin? As far as great NHL, this is all just fun to argue because they're
I don't know. I mean, I've watched both play. Yeah, I would put Jagr ahead of Ovechkin because Ovechkin's a goal scorer. Jagr was a more complete player, so I'm okay with that. He had the longevity too, but to say that McDavid was behind Lidstrom, then I need to know what was the assessment criteria? Was it career accomplishments? Well, then of course Lidstrom's up there for all-time greats. Stanley Cup, 7 Norrises. I mean, that's unheard of. Yeah. But if you're talking about skill and the best player is different than best career. And McDavid to me is the best, arguably the best player of all time. Now, I don't want to get into the whole era versus era discussion, but you look at all these players we're talking about, McDavid, super skilled. Maybe the best skilled player I've ever seen play. And I've been going to games since the 80s, 70s, actually.
Look at his highlights over the past week. It's hard to argue that.
Right? I mean, the guy does it super high speed, what very few players have ever been able to do. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of McDavid for sure. And as far as the skill set goes. So, yeah, I find that to be what the Athletic did arguable. But listen, I don't care enough to argue it. I mean, that's just one column's.
The fun thing about doing stuff like that is the debate that it creates. Right?
Yeah, that's really fair. And I don't necessarily enjoy partaking in these debates, but I'll happily express my opinion on a player and then enjoy the good debate that comes from it. CC says, good point, Josh. Some consider Thornton the Thornton SP card the following year as his rookie as he is in a Bruins jersey. I've never seen that myself, CC, but I'm not doubting you. SSP Joel says, so many rookies during the junk wax era for hockey. Yeah, so true. We, on the one hand, we got kind of, I don't want to use that one word I was about to use. So we got kind of ripped off that's the case. But on the other hand, we can all afford all these cards. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Denis says, Scott Niedermayer on his rookie card wears a Team Canada jersey. Yes, he does. Another great call out of that situation. Basement Break says McDavid represents the evolution of hockey to perfection. Well said, Basement Breaks. Wiz Poll says Jagr is 10 times the player Ovechkin is. 10 times is a big multiple, Wiz, but I don't know if 10 times. I mean, I'd be closer to the 1.5 maybe even 1.25. 10's a big multiple. And Tom says, come on, Jeremy, these debates are fun. Tom, I understand they're fun, but I'm coming up on 400 episodes of live streams, and I can only get into these discussions so many times and say the same thing that so many times, but I'm not going to disagree with you. They can be fun. All right. Well, hey, that's the bottom of the comments. The hockey auction is over for the night. We had some great results tonight. I think we have some happy owners of new cards, hoping people in the chat that were sellers. I hope you're happy with your results tonight. Josh, any before we kind of run this out, anything else from the chat you guys want to talk about? Comments, questions? Good to go for about 10 more minutes or so, Josh, and then we're going to wrap up. If you're okay,
yeah, I got 10 more minutes if people want to chat. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up if there's nothing that comes in. Eric says Jagr is now the all-time goal-scoring leader in professional hockey. Yes, saw that. That's pretty amazing. And Hockey Barn says, then there's the Korea Upper Deck Czech rookie card 2 years prior to his Upper Deck rookie card. That's a good point, Hockey Barn. I don't own that anymore, but I owned that card for 30, well, maybe not 30. I probably owned that card for 25 years until I finally just sold that I had that whole set and sold it off. But the Czech series was a very popular series back in 91, 92, 93 when it first came out. It was a set, Josh, I don't know if you're aware of it. It was meant for distribution in the Czech Republic, or maybe it was even Czechoslovakia back at the time. And but some of them made their way over to North America.
Wow, cool.
Mitch says, great show, guys. Glad we have more hockey content out there. Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate that. And guys, if you didn't yet listen to Thursday's episode of Hockey Cards Gong Show, Mitch Grotman from Grotman Cards delivers the first installment. I think you guys are doing 3 installments or 3 volumes of the Cup Masterclass, all by Mitch Grotman. And I've now listened to the whole thing, and Mitch did a great job covering the first up until 09, the Cup, 05, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he covered the first 5 years of it. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of volumes of that. Josh, anything you'd like to say about that?
He just did an awesome job, and it's so fun to listen to. And I would add to that too, your masterclass of the 51 through 63 Parkhurst run was amazing as well. And it's a series that we have sort of fallen into that is probably, of anything we're doing, is the most near and dear to my heart. And I think if we can help, and I think actually, Jeremy, you said this, and I really love the way you put it, bring together the foremost experts and most passionate collectors and really build the oral history of the hockey card hobby. To me, that is just something that is amazing. And we're just tickled to even be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really humble of you to say that you're tickled to be a part of it. You're the one that is quarterbacking the whole thing. And I like that you're going to store it on your website. It's going to become this evergreen content that I think people are going to refer back to probably for decades, never mind months or years, but for decades. So I'm honored to be a part of it. Mitch, I'm sure, is very honored to be a part of it. Aton, who is Sports Card Cartel, is a part of it. Of course, you and Troy and whoever else you guys bring on to do the rest of the episodes, it's gonna live on for a long time, and I think people are gonna really enjoy it and just learn from it. I mean, it's one thing to have, Bobby Burrell did the hobby a great service by putting out his vintage hockey collector books, but books are the old way,
Yeah.
Now it's like you wanna listen, watch as you're traveling wherever you're going, and you're gonna be able to do that with your stuff. So that's pretty cool here. Mike Double V says, the Masterclass series is awesome. Thought I knew a lot about hockey sets, but always get some new nuggets of info out of each one. That's the key right there. New nuggets of info. There might be things you've heard, but you've forgotten over time. And you can come back to these episodes and kind of be reminded and just go back to enjoy them. As long as you're going to be, passionate about hockey cards, whatever era it is. And the fact that you guys are breaking it down by era or however you're going to continue is going to be such that people will be able to really hone in on what they want to learn about and listen to. So I think that's really, really good stuff. T-Dot says, cards like Messier and Bourque have dropped big time. Those were steals. They've dropped since the peak, T-Dot, but again, zoom out, T-Dot. I always want to remind you, zoom out and look at what they were in 2017 to 19. Lots of cards have dropped since 2021. Tom Harrison says, will the O-Pee-Chee Tembec 8990 ever hold a premium value? They do, Tom. They do hold a premium value as far as I'm aware. I personally don't care to own them personally, but I believe they do hold a premium value.
What are Tembec? I don't even know.
Tembec was a card stock used for O-Pee-Chee Premier in 1991 that O-Pee-Chee experimented with in 8990, and they did a parallel set to the 8990 O-Pee-Chee set on that Tembec card stock, and they're very rare.
Is there any way to tell other than just knowing the difference in card stock, or did they label them different or anything like that?
I believe it's just the card stock is the only difference, I believe.
Okay. So it's kind of like Topps Tiffany, where you have to really know what you're looking for to be able to tell the difference.
Oh, that's actually a really good analogy right there. Yeah, for sure. Mitch says, appreciate the kind words. Hey man, you earned it. Honestly, you deserve it. You did a great job. And Grotman says so that was different. All right, so listen, let's wrap this up. I think I got all the comments here. Hockey Cards Up says, great show. Can we get a tag update? Everything at tag is going according to plan. Tag grading, of course, if you don't know, I'm working with tag grading, and we are doing grading drops right now. Check the website. Join the email list if you haven't yet for tag grading. Taggrading.com. Check it out. We're on the PWCC show. They sell a lot of cards graded by other grading companies. So I don't want to say anything about those companies, but I can just tell you that at Tag Grading, you're going to get the most consistent, reproducible, and accurate grading in the hobby. And we are very close to a marketing blitz. Let me just put it to that way. And all sorts of really major developments at Tag Grading. So we made a big statement at the Burbank show. We had a full automated grading operation set up there, and I'm just excited for the future of tag grading and really for the hobby overall. I think we're all in for something great when it comes to that. Name Indigenous rookie cards. Fun way to spend a Sunday. Thank you very much for joining. Hockey Barn says 10-bet card backs are lighter than standard, and that's similar to the OPG Premier. It is that same. Same stock. Mike says the back of the 10-bet cards might be brighter, whiter than the regular stock. May need to have the cards side by side to see the difference. Good point. And Basement Break says tag slabs are clean. Nice product. Thank you, Basement Breaks. Appreciate that on behalf of our whole team. Final word, Josh. We'll wrap up.
Amazing auction. I've been looking forward to this all week and really happy with the results. And again, I'll echo, it's so nice to see the vintage kind of rule the night tonight. We get so used to the McDavid, the same old guys, right? It's McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin, Gretzky. And I think too, I'll even add on there, to have vintage have such a prominent role without Gretzky rookies.
It's
kind of wild
rookie.
too.
Sorry, John. No Gretzky rookie on this front page. There's a second-year Gretzky and there's a Gretzky autograph, but no Gretzky rookie in the top 24 cards sold in the hockey auction this week on PWCC. I'm going to do a quick scroll through this next page of 24, and then we are going to be done. Thank you, Mike Double V. Appreciate that. Hockey Barn says vintage is king. So right away, the first card, two of the next three are Gretzky rookies, a PSA 5 and a PSA 4. I think the 4 is a nicer card. It just is nicer centered. I did have my eye on this card tonight, but I just, the centering kind of threw me off. There's another Gretzky rookie right there. It's a PSA 3, a Beliveau rookie, a PSA 10, Chelios at $1,300. Oh, there's that card that you guys covered. It didn't get any bids and extended, I don't think. I think that's what it was. Maybe got one bid and extended. Yep. And there we go. A couple more of the 33s. Another second-year Gretzky, but that's a PSA 8. And there we have it. Those are the top, or the second 24. All right, Josh. Thanks for joining, man. Always, this was great. Thanks for the color. Hang tight right there. Everybody in the chat, still 55 of you out there watching. So thanks everybody for sticking with us tonight. Thank you, CC. Appreciate the comment. I'm going to end this in like 5 seconds. If you have a final comment, get it in there. Thank you, Basement Breaks. Much appreciated. Everybody, we'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Tune into the Hockey Cards Gongshow Podcast. Talk to you guys later. Have a good week. Good night.
Bye, guys.